The year is 1878. Dakota Territory is a grim and desolate place, but in the small town of Sweet Ravine, law and order rules. The keeper of that peace is the most feared gunslinger west of the Mississippi. Hang on to those 10-gallon hats as we present the adventures of Sheriff Rawhide Laww. Fear is a universal experience, and sometimes one of the great motivators in life. Whether we're inspired to knuckle down to avoid worse consequences, or to flee for our lives, if fear is our motivation, we knuckle harder or run faster. And as strange as it may seem, some of us have befriended this emotion. When we are safe in our homes or by the comforting glow of a warm fire, sometimes there is nothing which brings us more joy than to bring a touch of that fear into our circle and share it like a fine delicacy with those around us. Of course, like any delicacy, there is always the risk of indigestion.
Morning, feller.
Is that any way to speak to your elders, Pipsqueak?
Well, I can't call him sir too, sir.
You can, actually, but that's perhaps not a battle I need to fight. Young man, may we ask your name?
What?
Your name is what? Is that a first or last name? Or were you asking me a question which I am really hoping you ain't? Because if you are, that indicates that you have forgotten your name, or are pretending to have forgotten it since you're a wanted individual. Either way, it is a royal pain in my hiney.
If he forgot his name, that's probably not so great for him either, sir.
Yes, but you can't expect me to care too awful much about this feller. I just met him. Or rather, I didn't really, since we ain't on a first-name basis.
I remember my name. It's Ethan. Ethan Weaver. That was a lot coming at me at once.
Welcome to Sweet Ravine.
You get used to it. Or you don't, and you try to forget about it on your way out of town.
Is leaving an option? 'Cause this appears to be the sort of place that leaving is by special permission only.
You mean a jail cell?
Oh, it ain't so bad. Keeps you warm and keeps the weather off of you. Bread's not bad either if you're staying long enough for victuals.
Hi?
Excuse my manners. The fellas in your adjoining accommodations are Mr. Sam and Slim, respectively.
Though Slim ain't super respectable at the best of times.
That's not what that... Never mind. As for those of us on the other side of the iron bars, the Pipsqueak is Deputy Kitty.
And the not-so-squeaked of a pip is Sheriff Alex.
I really don't think that word works that way either, but I'm just letting it pass.
May I ask a handful of questions?
By all means.
I can't help but notice that their cell door is wide open, while mine is not. Is there a reason for that?
Yes.
I promise you, she is trying to be helpful.
Slim and I got thrown in here for public introspection.
He means interrogation.
She means intoxication.
But now that we're all sobered up, we are free to vacate the precipice.
He means the precedent.
She means the premises.
Wait. That guy's sober? He's passed out on the cot.
Aw, he always takes a nap at this time of day. Wake him up and he starts sleepwalking. That's what they call a sombrero list.
He means son's tango tryst.
Why did you two even try sonambulist?
Was that a restorable question?
Oh, he means...
I get it. Thank you. Let me try this again. Those two are free to go about their merry way as soon as they'd like.
More like as soon as I'd like, which is about 10 minutes ago, Sam.
I'll try, but he wakes like a brick.
Bricks don't wake up.
My point exactly.
Oh, okay. So, when am I allowed to depart?
Among the contents of your vest pocket was $40.25. If you are willing to part with 10 of those dollars, we can let you out right now.
Are you? Are you robbing me?
Not really. That price is very reasonable.
I don't think they'd just ask for $10 if they were robbing you.
I wouldn't be asking at all. But to make this more clear, you came tearing into Sweet Ravine aboard a lovely little palomino who looked like it had been chased by a cougar for a couple of miles before a pack of wolves took over for it. You hollered something nobody could make out before you brought that beast to a sudden halt, tried to dismount, caught your foot in the stirrup, and landed head first on top of the hitching post outside the general store. The $10 is a $2 fine for public drunkenness, a $4 visit from Doc Malone, $1 for Dutch Forrest to take care of your horse for the night, and $3 to repair the hitching post.
I wasn't drunk last night.
You sure?
Mostly.
Feller, you might want to give up on that one right about now.
Look, I didn't have that much. It was a cold night and I had a couple shots of whiskey from my flask.
The flask doesn't have more than a mouthful left in it.
Well, it wasn't exactly full last night. I've been on the road for a bit, and anyway, it was getting pretty late. I wouldn't normally ride copper in the dark, but the sign said we were only a mile or so out of town. I had my lantern going, but something was making her skittish. I thought it was a polecat since it smelled so much like it, but then I heard something out in the distance. I looked out, and there was something loping over the field. It was big like a bear, but it was running on two legs and making a noise fit to wake the dead. It also smelled something powerful. It was heading right for me. Hey! Oh, yeah! 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 I put the spurs to Copper and made her gallop all the way to Sweet Ravine. I wasn't drunk when I fell off Copper. I was scared out of my wits.
Morning, darling. Thought I'd swing by and see how you and the new guest are doing.
Sounds like this fella ran into the big man.
And would you look at the time?
Do not abandon me to this.
The big man?
Yep, said to roam these parts for ages and ages. My grandpappy used to tell me about him, and he heard it from a Lakota man who grew up with the tale. In their language, it was called the Taku Hey.
Do you think there's any chance he got that pronunciation right?
I do not.
Are you telling me there's some kind of beast man walking?
He is. And he's also dumb as a pile of rocks.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in the aristocracy.
I want to say he was close, but I think that's a bit generous.
The big man ain't the only thing out there people swear doesn't exist. Why, must have been about 40 years ago me and Slim was out on Devil's Lake.
Sounds like a cozy place.
It was a hot day, and we just delivered a wagon load of beans for Slim's old man. We didn't need to get back for a few days, so we decided to borrow a feller's boat and head out fishing.
Oh, sure. You boys enjoy yourselves. The weather couldn't be nicer. One thing, though, you two need to be careful. There's a critter out in these waters.
A critter?
Oh, yeah. She's not usually that ornery. When she is, there's not much to do but pray.
Well, what's she look like?
Oh, you'll know her when you see her. Black as pitch with horns on the side of her head and eyes the size of goose eggs. If you run into her, well, don't worry about getting the boat back to me.
Well, he was laughing, so we didn't pay him a whole lot of mind. It was just before sunset, and we hadn't had a bite all day.
You mean the fish or your dinner?
Well, to be honest, lunch was more of a liquid affair, if I'm being honest.
How out of character for you two.
Then the boat started rocking something fierce. I looked over the side, and there it was. It rose up out of the water at least 10 feet above the surface. Looked just like a water snake, but thick as a stream bed. Gave us a hiss that told us it wanted us out of that lake. I didn't waste a second. I woke up, grabbed the oars, and made straight for the shore.
Run that by me again?
I said, I woke up, grabbed the oars, and made straight for the shore.
Should I?
Do you honestly think it will help?
Noted.
So, there's a giant snake in Devil's Lake?
Well, at least one, anyhow.
Sir, we don't have to hunt down a lot of bounties out that way, do we? Sir?
Sorry, Pipsqueak. I suddenly got a bit of a headache.
Hi. Hi, Jessie. Oh, Silas, you came at just the right time. Alex has a headache.
Don't worry about me, Doc. It's the kind of headache you get when you force yourself not to roll your eyes. I'll be fine. What brings you by?
Well, I hoped to check on our visitor from last night, and then I was hoping to get lunch with Kitty, if you don't mind.
By all means.
Sam was just telling us about the giant man and the big snake.
What she said, but reverse that. It's just a couple of old legends.
Ooh, can I have a turn?
No, not this again.
You seen something weird?
No.
Stick in the mud. It was years ago when we were visiting our cousins in New Jersey. My Aunt Martha told me the story. See, back in 1735.
Mother Leeds learned she was pregnant with her 13th child. Exhausted and frustrated, she swore of that child, let it be the devil. When the time came on a stormy night, the baby was normal at first. But soon after it changed, becoming a creature with hooves, the head of a horse, bat wings, and a forked tail.
What happened then?
It devoured Mother Leeds, the midwife, and even a few of their children. The next thing they knew, it had flown up the chimney and disappeared.
But they caught it, right?
I'm afraid not. It's still out there in the woods somewhere.
And later that night,
That's unbelievable.
Correct.
hey, I saw a forked tail.
You saw a tree branch.
And bat's wings.
You saw what you were looking for, Jessie.
You believe me, don't you, Alex?
What I believe is that I will never have 13 children in New Jersey.
Now that I believe.
How are you feeling, sir?
A bit of a headache, but I think I'm all right.
Well, you took quite a spill there, so I'm not overly surprised. Your pupils aren't dilated. I assume you'll be fine.
Did you want to pay the doctor now, Ethan?
Sure. What did you say it was? 5?
4.
4?
You were up here sitting with him for 2 whole hours making sure he weren't brain dead. Take the money, Silas.
3. Not a penny more, and only because I gave you that dose of medicine to help you sleep.
That's fine by me. Sheriff, would you mind?
Here you are, Doc.
Come on, let's go eat lunch with my stick-in-the-mud brother who'll put himself in the poorhouse before much longer.
Phew! What is that?
Sheriff?
Uh-oh. You want me to stick around, sir?
You young folks head out. I'll take care of this.
Alex, you can get him away from my saloon, you can shoot him, or I can shoot him.
Oh, geez, Miss Jody, I'm just powerful thirsty.
Augustus, do me the favor of taking 3 large steps back before my eyes water to the point where I can't see you.
Well, if you can't see him, I guess I'll need to shoot him.
Jody, there are times when I appreciate your quickness to prepare a firearm. This is not one such moment.
All I wanted was some beer.
Wait, is that the...
Ethan Weaver, allow me to introduce Mr. Augustus Peterson. Oh, 7 feet of him. He is an excellent trapper by trade and would be a fine furrier, except that some 20 years back he appears to have lost his sense of smell.
So, you make a lot of coats out of skunk, do you?
Nothing keeps a man warmer. Not sure why more people don't buy more of them. Say, I know you. Ain't you that feller I saw in that Palomino last night? I'm glad you heard me warn you off. You was heading straight towards some of my traps. Might have broke that pony's leg.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he is quite the big man, isn't he?
We still haven't dealt with the issue at hand.
I'm not going anywhere unless I get some beer.
Augustus, Sit down on the chair I got out on the porch over there. Ethan, I would be happy to waive the charge for public drunkenness if you will follow Jody back to her saloon and then bring some beers for Augustus to enjoy on my porch. Will that pull the thorn out of everyone's collective paws?
Not as satisfying as shooting him would be, but I can live with it.
Out of a cell is better than in one.
Fine by me. Chair looks comfy.
All right, then. Criminy. I don't know why Solomon got so much credit for calming down 2 women and a baby. Wouldn't have lasted 4 days doing my job. Now out with all of you. Sam, you too. Leave Slim to sleep and come back in about an hour.
Sounds fine by me. Can't believe the Taku Hay turned out to be Augustus.
I wouldn't have believed it any other way.
Sweetie Pie, do you ever wonder if we're a bit too cynical?
I don't suppose I do.
Really? In all your travels, you never once came across something you couldn't explain?
Plenty of times. But I never claimed to understand every speck of God's green earth. The fact that I can't explain it doesn't mean it's unexplainable.
Not a bad way of looking at it. Of course, there is one thing which does require a little explanation.
Why I haven't kissed you yet?
Life's short, cowboy. Better get to it.
While fear of the unknown is natural, it can also be plumb stupid. When we don't know what it is we're supposed to be afraid of, odds are good that the answer is nothing at all. Of course, when there are moments we need to really be terrified in, nothing makes those moments more endurable than the presence of someone, or a lot of someones, who love you. You've been listening to the adventures of Sheriff Rawhide Laww, produced by Seat of Our Pants Players, written and directed by Dan Wenzel. Alex was Jill Wenzel, Kitty was Brianna Kuby, Ethan was Adam Gastengee, Sam was Rick Tennant, Caleb was Dan Wenzel, the old man was Ray Greenlee, Jessie was Rebecca Scheimer, Silas was Aaron Manka-White, Aunt Martha was Andy Gastengee, young Jessie was Morgan Gastengee, Jody was Liz Music, and Augustus was Andrew Dell. Music and sound effects by www.freesfx.co.uk. Thanks for listening, partner. We'll see you next time.
So, Dan, I have a question.
Have you tried Hare Krishna?
It's not a question which can be answered by quoting the Muppet movie.
That is blasphemy and hurtful. But go on.
Why are you asking me to do the thank you for the Halloween episode? Are you implying that you find me terrifying?
I believe you are inferring that I find you terrifying.
Am I inferring it because you are implying it?
Pass.
Pass was not an option.
C, all of the above.
This conversation is not over.
No one believed it was.
Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, with an extra special thanks to the individual sponsoring us at the Founder of the Feast level. We offer a variety of rewards for our supporters, as well as the chance to help us keep making this content. Please visit us at patreon.com/seatofourpantsplayers.
Thank you.
Get back here!